Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, don't
Well,
worry about that.
good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. It is Friday, January 22nd, and my name is Troy Denault. I'm over here at the Sotir Senior Living and Family Advocates Training Center, and we are putting together our very first podcast. Very excited to kind of get some information across in a new medium that people have started to respond to more often. And we out here in the community and those that work within the healthcare industry, it's hard to get information to people now these days just due to COVID and everybody locked up and everybody kind of staying away. So we figured that maybe we could try this and get out there to get some information to some families that may be struggling with specific situations with their family members, not know where to turn, and just let some candid real world advice. So that's why we're doing this. There's a lot of podcasts that are out there. We kind of got a lot of inspiration from like the Joe Rogan experience where he's out there and just real candid, real blunt about what's kind of going on. And so we figured why not be a voice out there for families and those to try to get some education in the hands of those that need it without some type of agenda. So here we go. Some of the different things that we're going to be kind of trying to discuss here on podcasts are just some basics. I mean, we're going to get down and we'll get into the nitty gritty of some of this as we get going, but some of the basics just in regards to, what is an assisted living community? What does home care do? What is the difference between a private duty home care and what is a Medicare home care? What's a nursing home? Well, how's that different than an assisted living? A lot of times when we're talking to people and we just say, hey, what's the difference between a nursing home and an assisted living? 90% of people have no idea. And so we're going to kind of get into some of those pieces and some of those struggles. We're going to get into some of how you pay for all these things. Some of it's through veterans benefits. Some of it's trying to understand Medicaid and all the maze that is, and trying to understand the veterans benefits and navigating the veteran service officers and the VA and the paperwork that's necessary and kind of that, all of the needs associated with trying to track down some of that and where we can track it down. A lot of times families have come to us and don't know where dad's DD-214 is. And well, how do we get our hands on it? And so it's just trying to help families kind of go through some of those and just got to be real blunt about trying to get to some of the roots of how do we get some support when something happens to mom, something happens to dad. What do I do when grandpa's in trouble? A lot of times, we don't want to have this conversation because the conversations are hard. They're uncomfortable. But the truth is that the only one that I know of, and that's because I'm a Christian. I mean, there's lots of different religions have different things, but the only guy that I know of in my religion that dodged death is Jesus Christ. So beyond that, it's we're all going to age and it's going to catch up with us. And so, but we fail to be proactive and we kind of wait for the crisis to come before we do anything. And that's where I'm just trying to get out there and just be a voice and get some information into some ears that maybe need it so that down the road when something does happen that we had a plan in place versus just kind of reacted and everybody else is telling us what our plan should be. What's the mission? Ultimately, the mission of this whole thing is to change the stigma. That's been kind of our go-to here over the course of the past year. COVID kind of hit it, but at the same token, it kind of really drove it home for us. It changed the stigma as to what the senior living industry is. I mean, let's be honest, the media loves to glamorize all the problems. They want to talk about all the issues that go on in these senior living environments and that this happened and that negative thing happened. And yeah, there's bad ones out there. There's bad caregivers. There's bad assisted livings, but I mean, there's bad auto mechanics. There's bad doctors. There's bad chefs in a restaurant. I mean, it just, that's being in a capitalist society. That's just normal, but that's not the norm. I mean, you look at all the things that happened and yeah, we did lose some people and yeah, the COVID was absolutely terrible, but there's a whole lot of seniors across this country that these CNAs and these administrators and these nurses and these doctors that really did a bang up job and really did a wonderful work to really keep our seniors safe and thriving and pushing forward when they were away from their families. These people were the only ones that were there and holding them and hugging them and loving on them. And we forget those heroes and those unsung folks. So our mission is to get out there and really change the stigma that here on the inside of the industry that we've seen has really really done a great job. So, a lot of times we've got families and people that have these images of what senior living environments are that are branded in their heads from things that they saw 20 years ago or 15 years ago. And I'm not getting my mom into that situation. Whereas, a number of these communities, if you haven't taken the time to go out and look at them, they're like a cruise ship on land. And just as things go, as we are continuing forward with this mission and trying to change the stigma and trying to get more information into people's hands, just want to let all of you know that if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have things, you can email us. You can make sure to follow us on Facebook and throw things onto there, where you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's going to be a ton of avenues for you to be able to get information or questions to us that we'll just address one by one by one. So just wanted to give a little bit of an intro as to who I am, what I'm doing, why we're doing this, and just and where we're headed. So thanks again for your time, and stay tuned. It's coming.